What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for the Week 14 Premier League predictions. We have a midweek game week for you today. Last week, City needed a late winner to beat Leeds. We correctly predicted Fulham to win 2-1 away against Tottenham. Manchester United won at Selhurst Park, and Chelsea and Arsenal had a combative 1-1 draw, which was largely dominated by the referee.
Hell no.
Real quick, as I've said a few times, for the month of December, I will be giving one lucky Patreon member $100 as a thank you for supporting the channel. So make sure you click the top link, join the Patreon, get the Accas, accumulators and shoutouts and everything like that, and give yourself a chance to win $100. Here is the comment of the week from Tiong. I just want to say thank you so much for the comment, and thank you all for the support on the channel. As you know, we are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and when we get there, we will be adding Europa League prediction videos to the channel, where we're already uploading pretty much every single day. So please do click subscribe down below, join us on the road to 50,000. We're about 2,500 subscribers away, and it would be super cool if we could reach that before Christmas. So let's get started. We travel to the Vitality Stadium for Bournemouth up against Everton. Once again, real quick, thank you so much for the support in these videos. Please do drop a like, keep hyping the videos down below. And I do have to apologize, I am pretty unwell today, but the schedule does not stop. We still have to keep making content, and I know a lot of you rely on the predictions. So we're here for Bournemouth up against Everton. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. Bournemouth threw away a 2-0 lead against Sunderland, and Everton got absolutely battered by Newcastle, who were up 3-0 at half-time, which is absolutely insane. Now, for this one, you look at it and you think maybe it could be a draw. Two teams are sort of similar in terms of, I guess, form. Recent form hasn't been great. They both lost last game week, but they've only drawn twice in the 20 games that they've played, Bournemouth and Everton, across the last 10 years. And the last of those was over 7 years ago. So for all their meetings in the Premier League in the last 7 years, there's been a winner. And I just think at home, Bournemouth are going to shade it and be able to get the win. Everton really stumbled against Newcastle. So I'm going to go for a Bournemouth 2-1 win. And I actually think the odds are good enough. I'm going to go for Bournemouth to win at odds of 2.1. I think at home, where Bournemouth are unbeaten this season, those are really good odds. And Everton, it's not a great time to play them so soon after such a heavy defeat to Newcastle as well. I think this is a perfect opportunity for Bournemouth to have a bit of an uptick in form and get 3 points on the board. Now, after this, we do have Fulham up against Manchester City. As I said, last game week, I predicted Fulham to win 2-1 away against Tottenham. And what was funny in that video is that I said the last time I predicted an away underdog to win was PSV to beat Liverpool in the Champions League game week last week. And it happened. And what do you know? We actually got the correct score bang on as well. Fulham to win 2-1 away from home. Manchester City, they did put 3 past Leeds as we expected, but I did not expect them to concede twice. They got the win in the end very late on, and this is going to be a very close one because Fulham at Craven Cottage, they are a good team, and I think they could potentially give Man City some problems here. Certainly more problems than they've given over recent years, because Manchester City, this is an incredible stat, they have won the last 18 matches they've played against Fulham. They've won all of them. No draws, they've won them all, and they've scored a ton of goals. So with that being said, I am just going to have to shade Manchester City, who have essentially closed the gap on Arsenal to now 5 points instead of 7, because Arsenal obviously dropped points against Chelsea. So I think Man City will be able to sneak a win. This is one of Man City's harder games at Craven Cottage, but the history, they always beat Fulham, and I think they're just going to do it 2-1. But because I think Fulham are a capable side, I think they're going to score. I'm going to tip Manchester City and both teams to score at odds of 3.2. Speaking of Manchester City, they featured right there at the top of our highest odds ACCA winner over the weekend since the last Premier League video. And as you can see, we hit 500 winners on the Patreon. So here are the winning accumulators. More success in Greece. Absolutely incredible stuff. You can pause and have a look if you want. I got another comment on the last Premier League game week video asking how to direct message me. Now, when I first started YouTube back in 2011, you could do it on YouTube, but now you literally can't do that. So that is another perk of the Patreon. So if you click the top link in the description, you get exclusive members tips and accumulators. You can message me directly, and you also get a shout out in every single video. So flashing up on the screen are all of the people that are supporting me over on the Patreon. So if you want that shout out, everything like that, please do click the link in the description to join. Moving on, we travel to St. James's Park for Newcastle up against Tottenham. Now, Newcastle, as we mentioned, absolutely battered Everton, and Tottenham As we mentioned, also lost to Fulham at home. Things do not get easier for Tottenham as they travel to St James's Park. Obviously, they lost the North London derby. They lost in the Champions League. They've now lost to Fulham, and they travel to a Newcastle side who they haven't beaten in their last 6 meetings. Newcastle winning 4 of them and them sharing a draw the other 2 games. So this is a horrible time to go to St James's Park. The only slight saving grace is that Tottenham are much better away from home than they are at home. But Newcastle, unfortunately for Spurs, are one of the best home sides, I think, of the Premier League, to be honest. Going to St James's Park is so tricky. Manchester City went there and lost, and I think Tottenham are going to lose here. And I've actually gone for a repeat scoreline of the last meeting between these 2 teams at St James's Park. I'm going to say Newcastle win this one 2-0, and the tip is Newcastle to win at odds of 1.72. Now, after this, we travel back down to London for Arsenal up against Brentford in a London derby. Now, this is going to be quite a tricky one, I think, for Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal, Leandro Trossard didn't play against Chelsea. Gabriel and Saliba both out against Chelsea. Gyökeres did come on off the bench and maybe could have won it at the end if Timber didn't take the header right off of his head. But either way, Arsenal didn't deserve to win that game. I think if Timber gets out the way, Gyökeres scores, you say, you know what? Arsenal created another chance, they deserve to win. But when it was 11v11, Arsenal looked under a lot of pressure. I think without Gabriel and Saliba, who Arsenal haven't played a game without both of since 2022, we looked vulnerable. And on top of that, Chelsea pressed really well. I think the referee kind of ruined that game a little bit when he booked Zubimendi at the beginning, because he set a very dangerous precedent that very soft yellow cards are going to be given. I mean, if Caicedo didn't get a direct red card for that challenge, I would argue he should have got a second yellow card for simulation, because he was writhing on the floor, rolling around, pretending to be injured because he knew that was a very bad tackle. And on top of that, Caicedo should have been on at least a yellow before that red card offence. So I genuinely think Caicedo probably clocked up about 2 red cards worth of fouls in that game before he finally got sent off. But also, I was surprised to hear that that was his first straight red card in his club football career. Like, what? How is Caicedo the walking yellow card? I even said it. Play the clip from last week's video. They could very well slip up here against Chelsea, and initially when I looked at this fixture, I did think possibly a 1-1 draw. Let's just keep it nice and friendly. I'm looking at you, Caicedo, Cucurella. Don't get booked. I spoke about Caicedo and Cucurella getting carded. They both got carded. And yeah, the game was just a little bit of a mess. But ultimately, Chelsea played well. They deserved a point. And that was probably one of Arsenal's weakest performances of the season. But to say that and then know that we went to Stamford Bridge and got a point despite all of that, I think that's very good news for Arsenal. Brentford, on the other hand, did finally get over the line against Burnley. It was 0-0 for the majority of that game, and it actually ended 3-1. Brentford took a lead. Burnley pulled one back, and then Brentford went and won 3-1. So as we expected, Brentford did win by 2 goals, but it was not as easy as it should have been. I think this is going to be a really close game, and without Arsenal's full strength team, without Gabriel, possibly without Saliba, I think Hincapié and Mosquera are great centre-backs to have in terms of squad depth and to fill in. But as your first choice, you know, week in, week out, they're not the same level as Gabriel or Saliba. So I do think Brentford have a chance here. And that is why I'm going to say that Arsenal win 2-1. But the tip is going to be both teams to score at odds of 2.1. Because for the last 3 games Arsenal played against Brentford, both teams have scored. And I was on Big Up doing a watch-along for the stream. And I even highlighted at half-time, when Chelsea were down to 10 men, both teams to score in that game. The odds were 4, and it came in. Chelsea scored very quickly. Arsenal got one back as well. Couldn't get the win, but ultimately I think Arsenal do win here. I'm going to say that 2-1, and the tip will be both teams to score. I could talk about the Chelsea-Arsenal game for hours, so we're going to move on to Brighton up against Aston Villa. Brighton got, I think, a little bit of a shock result. I think a lot of people got sort of swept up with Nottingham Forest uptick in form under Sean Dyche, 3 wins in a row. They look back to the previous meeting at the City Ground between Forest and Brighton and see 7-0 and think, yeah, Nottingham Forest should win this. But ultimately, Brighton are quietly going about their business, having a very good season. They got an away win, and now they play at the Amex against a Villa side who are much more vulnerable away from home than they are at home. Both teams very high up in the league at this point. I think it's going to be a close game. I think I'm going to sit on the fence and go for a draw here. I know Aston Villa's recent games don't necessarily point to a lot of goals, but I do think Brighton and Aston Villa, when they come together, there's going to be a lot of goals. I've got a gut feeling for this one. I'm going to say 2-2. 5 of the last 6 competitive games between these two have seen over 2.5 goals. So I think there will be plenty of goals in this fixture. The tip is going to be both teams to score at odds of 1.66. That just keeps the 1-1 on side rather than going for over 2.5 or both teams to score on over 2.5 goals. I think this is going to be a very close game, and this is actually the only draw I'm predicting for the Premier League game week, and I think a lot of teams might just be able to get over the line. No one really winning by a massive margin. I think it's going to be a very close game week, and to be honest, there's not a big standout fixture for something that's like, yes, I definitely want to watch that. This is a very intriguing game week. I think Newcastle Tottenham could be entertaining, but either way, I think this game ends in a draw. Now, after this, we travel to Turf Moor for Burnley up against Crystal Palace. Now, the last time Burnley were in the Premier League, Palace did the double over them, scoring 5, conceding 0. That was a 2-0 and a 3-0. And Palace, they are in good form, and I mentioned last game week how they are yet to win a game after playing in the Conference League, and that happened again. Now, the only thing here is, does this game somewhat emulate that as well, given that they just played in the Premier League a few days prior, so they still have that few day fatigue. So it's possible that this game they suffer a similar fate and don't get the win because of the fatigue of playing in the Premier League so recently, but they're playing against Burnley. So I do think Crystal Palace are going to win this one. I'm going to say it will be low scoring. I'm going to say Crystal Palace to win 2-0, and the tip is Crystal Palace to win at odds of 1.72. But I wouldn't count Burnley out because, like I said, when Palace play after the Conference League, and same way here, they played recently, when they've done that, they haven't actually got a win yet. So who knows? Maybe this could be... I'm sort of bookmarking this as a potential upset of the week where Burnley actually go and take 3 points. But I'm not brave enough to predict it as a scoreline. So I'm going to say 2-0. But this is one I could see Burnley actually taking all 3 points in. So keep your eye on that one. After this, we travel to Molineux for Wolves up against Nottingham Forest. Wolves didn't score a goal in the entire month of November. Not only are they bottom of the league on 2 points, they literally didn't score a goal in the month of November. They played 4 games, lost them all, didn't score a goal. I looked at this and thought, maybe there's a chance they get a point. And whilst I still think that, and my tip somewhat reflects that, I can't back it because they're playing so bad. So I'm going to say that Nottingham Forest bounce back from their loss against Brighton and get a 1-0 win. But in case we do see a 0-0 draw, or heaven forbid, a Wolves goal and a 1-1 draw, the tip is going to be Nottingham Forest double chance and under 3.5 goals at odds of 1.72. Maybe, I mean, this is a game that Wolves should win. It really is. If we forget the torrid season they've had, this is a game they'd look at on the fixture list and think, yes, we can get a win there. A scrappy 1-0 Wolves win. That's what should happen, but how can you predict it when they've got 2 points all season and haven't scored for over a month? So I'm going for 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. After this, we travel to Ellen Road for Leeds up against Chelsea. Daniel Farke somewhat forced into making changes at halftime against Man City after they faced an absolute barrage from them. They could have been more than 2-0 down, and actually it worked out quite well. The changes he made worked well, and Leeds ended up winning the second half 2-1 and could have walked away with the point there until Phil Foden's stoppage time winner. So that's something positive. But I think this just is a difficult run of fixture for Leeds, and they would never look at Man City and Chelsea and think, yeah, we're definitely going to get points from those games. And I think Chelsea are going to win this game. I think Chelsea, they were celebrating the draw because of the context of the game being down to 10 men for so long. But I think a lot of Chelsea fans will think, oh, if we just didn't get that red card, we really could have won that game. And Arsenal were there to be got at. That was one of Arsenal's weaker performances of the season, and Chelsea definitely could have got the win and looked like more like the team that were going to go on and get the win. But yeah, I think Chelsea do go to Ellen Road and put another win on the board here. I'm going to say 2-0. I thought about Chelsea and over 1.5 goals like I did with the Burnley game, but the odds here are good enough on its own. You can keep the 1-0 onside. The tip is Chelsea to win at odds of 1.75. I just think Leeds, obviously they don't win many games against Chelsea. They did win one in their recent history, but generally, Chelsea will get the better of teams like Leeds, and I think this should be a comfortable win. Now, after this, it's probably one of the games of the week. We travel to Anfield for Liverpool up against Sunderland. Sunderland 2-0 down, and I think for the first time in their history in the Premier League, come back and get the win after going 2 goals down in the Premier League. I think that's the first time they've ever done that. Incredible result for them. Liverpool did get the win against West Ham. I said in my video it should be the easiest Liverpool and both teams to score we've ever seen, but West Ham didn't even score. Liverpool always beat West Ham. Fair enough. This is going to be a strong, strong test. The odds are absolutely awful for Liverpool to win, by the way. The odds for Liverpool to win are 1.36, and I don't understand why. However, I do think Liverpool are going to win. So we're going to have to try and extract some value here. Sunderland don't travel as well as they do when they play at home. They play much better. They get more results. I'm going to say Liverpool win 2-1. But like I said, the odds for Liverpool to win are absolutely abysmal. So the tip is going to be Liverpool to win and both teams to score at odds of 2.87. You've got to say that Sunderland will be good for a goal after putting 2 past Arsenal, 3 past Bournemouth after going 2-0 down. You should expect Sunderland to score, and Liverpool have hardly been solid at the back lately. Ultimately, Liverpool should win. I think they will, but Liverpool and both teams to score at 2.87 is my tip. The final game, we travel to Old Trafford. It's Thursday night football. Man United should be used to that after their Europa League exploits over recent years. But it's Man United up against West Ham. West Ham, they just don't look very good, do they? They did have a bit of a bounce, but they lost to Liverpool as you expect, and I think Man United are going to win this one. So I'm going to say Man United to win 2-0. The tip is Man United and under 4.5 goals at 1.8. I thought about 3.5, but the odds of under 4.5 were good enough for me, and I think of the last 15 meetings between Man United and West Ham, 9 of them have seen Man United win and under 4.5 goals. That's a pretty decent percentage for odds of 1.8. I think it happens again. I don't think it's going to go over. Most of those 9 wins, I think 8 of those 9 wins, by the way, were under 3.5 goals. But you might as well chuck in a bit of insurance and say under 4.5. Man United should win this. They got a very good win against Crystal Palace. Sort of took advantage of the fact that Palace were probably lagging a bit from the Conference League. And I think with that second goal, I don't really think... I mean, the wall was absolutely awful. They just couldn't stop the ball. But also, I don't think Henderson was really ready. They sort of took the free kick quickly, and Mason Mount kind of buried it before Henderson was even ready to make the save. And like I said, the wall should have done better. But ultimately, a very, very good win for Manchester United, who I think can actually put together a string of results here, beating West Ham at Old Trafford. I've gone for 2-0. But yes, that is going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like. To all of you that hyped the video down below, thank you so much. It really helps. Once again, if you are new here and you haven't subscribed, click sub down below so you don't miss any football content. We'll be back on the channel tomorrow for Bundesliga, and then Wednesday we have Serie A and La Liga, and then Thursday I'll be back for Premier League again, and then Friday we will of course be doing the weekend live show, where once again we had another league 100%, the Serbian league this time, 100% on the tips. Last week we had Greece and Germany, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But that is going to do it from me, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.